Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Monday Night Pod. My name is Jeremy Jacobowitz. I'm here with my tag team partner, Adam Welby.
Heyo.
This is the podcast all about the Monday Night Wars, all about the battles between WWF Raw and WCW Nitro. Each and every single week, we go back in time and we review when Raw went head-to-head versus Nitro. I'm saying this incredibly fast.
Just thinking.
We're trying to figure out. I just had another gigantic cup of coffee. We're trying to figure out who really should have won the Monday Night Wars, but I don't know why should people listen to what we have to say.
Because, I mean, dang, listen to how efficient that copy is that Jeremy is reading at the top of this to get the level of analysis that we can deliver on top of quality delivery like that. Oh, my goodness. And then, I mean, look, this is the pod that's been endorsed by multiple WWE Hall of Famers because they have received body awards. This is the podcast that has been endorsed by a man who scored the pinfall in last week's main event of Dynamite. So we're getting pretty influential here. That's right. Yeah, Mr. Austin Gunn managed to score the pinfall in the main event of Dynamite last week. Friend of the show, want to say congratulations. My goodness, Monday Night Pod is moving places, and it's a better time than ever to be involved with it, and that is why you should be involved.
When Edge and Christian still had their podcast, they would say that they would bring on guests and then they would rocket strap them. I think we rocket strapped them, Adam. I think we should whatever for all of his success. Take credit for all of his success.
I'll crack a beer to that. So, to Austin Gunn's success and continued success. Cheers.
Yes. Those are all excellent reasons. But also, we both used to work at WWE. We both used to work at a WWE tape library. Our jobs are to watch all of wrestling. I imagine everyone like at home says along with me now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We're 66 episodes and people are like, right?
That's right.
Something like that.
It's like when The Rock would say the millions and then lower the microphone for everyone else
Right.
to say and millions. You know? Yeah, it's basically Jeremy Jacobowitz and The Rock right now, as far as crowd control goes.
I think so.
That's good and well. That's good and well. Yes, we did used to do that, and we watched more wrestling than you, as they say. So, Jeremy, any other thoughts about wrestling this week that you got?
Nope.
See that? Now, it's been a dramatic week around the world. Depending on when you're listening to it, we just had an election in the United States. It's been eating up a lot of our time, but I did manage to watch Full Gear and really, really enjoyed it. Got to say, I think it was one of the most consistent cards that All Elite Wrestling has put on so far. Nothing incredibly mind-blowing, but everything really delivered and I thought was good. Especially how often do you have a dream match like the Bucks versus FTR and the match itself actually delivers. So I'm in a good mood about wrestling right now, and I'm hoping that January 20th, 1997's wrestling would not bring me down.
We shall see. I will say I did not watch it. My mind has been other places this whole week. My one note, only because I didn't watch it, the only note I could have is I hate the names of their pay-per-views. Cody is such a stickler for like all like the old school shit, and then we get like the worst WWE names for pay-per-views. Full Gear, what the fuck is that?
It means that you're
Isn't the next one Revolution?
Yeah.
WWE literally used that as a pay-per-view name.
That was
New Year's resolution or revolution, or I guess it's resolution. Never mind.
Yeah.
But it's just like, couldn't it be something wrestling? Couldn't you pick like an old AWA name or something, bring it back, like make it classic and cool? Instead, it's like that. Full Gear. Ugh.
I'm into that, but I also understand the meaning behind the pay-per-views when they were first given those names.
What was the meaning behind Full Gear?
Because like the company was totally like in full motion now, like they're moving in full gear. You get it like a car? I know, Jeremy, we don't own cars in New York. I get it.
I need cars to be part of the set like WWE used to do for Bash.
Well, they had like gears all over the
They did have gears.
and the marketing material, but it's the whole thing behind like All In, All Out, Double or Nothing, all that stuff. Like there's all meaning behind it for how they were creating it. And
yeah,
it'd be cool if they had if they called it like Full Gear 2 or something like that.
It'd be cool if they called it Full Gear Jamboree. Like something old school wrestling. That's all I want.
Okay. All right. Well, let's.
Dusty was the greatest at coming up with these pay-per-view names. You would think Cody would want to, live up to that a little bit.
Well, I guess you can get a word in with our friend Austin Gunn then and see who's
Text him right
also
now.
in the Nightmare family, by the way. So we're very not far removed from being able to speak to Cody at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I got Brandy too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, one day you'll be on a shot of brandy, and then it'll be great. You'll be able to move on to the main event. You'll leave me behind. I'll be the Janetti of that one. It's gonna be awesome.
Wonder what we'll make together. I don't know, it's a whole other episode. Would you like to talk about this week's episodes? I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I think I would love to. What were we talking about? We're in 1997.
Yes, it is January 20th, 1997. Adam of Raw is live from the M-O-N-T-A-G-N-E. Montagan? I don't know. Center in Beaumont. Oh, Jesus, I'm a mess this week. Beaumont, Texas.
Beaumont. I think that's how it is.
Texas people, reach out to us. Tell us what I'm missing. Anyway, this is coming after the 1997 Royal Rumble. A lot of things happen here, and this is how the show opens. Some clips from the night before. HBK is our new WWF World Champion, and Stone Cold Steve Austin has won the Royal Rumble, but there is controversy surrounding that. So let's do it. Vince King and JR open the show. But right away, here comes Bret Hart. No music, and he is pissed off. Bret addresses Vince personally. You promised me an opportunity for the title, but Sean screwed me out of it when I had it in December. He says, he made him face Austin to get it, and he's done everything he can do, and he still hasn't been able to get a fair shot at the title. I won the Royal Rumble. I should be getting the title match. I've been screwed by Sean, Austin, and WWF, and you, pointing right at Vince. Since I won't get my opportunity, I quit. Throws on the mic, walks out through the fans. So chaos to start Raw.
To start the show, yeah. It's a live feeling show, and it's you know what? It feels real, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Bret Hart's promos go too, it's pretty good. Like, it's not
probably the best we've seen.
Yeah, it's not going to blow your mind, but again, it's one of those things where, like, if they make it feel real, it's that much better. Like they're just talking about Full Gear, and we had Eddie Kingston in the main event last night against John Moxley in an I Quit match, and like the whole thing with that, Eddie Kingston, one of the best promos in the game. He makes every single thing he talks about feel real. And that's exactly what's happening right here. Bret Hart is making it feel real, and even if he's not the best promo in the game, it feeling real makes it more compelling, and so I'm into it.
What was Eddie's thing? He's like, "Hey, Ma, look what I brought home for you."
Yeah, he made a promise to his mother, and that's why she didn't have a grandchild or a daughter, and then Mox's thing was,
I would definitely blow out my voice if I tried to impersonate him.
to do anything. So yeah, I don't think you have that level of anger in your soul. I don't think you can do it. You gotta be very angry. Me and my buddy were watching. We keep going to modern stuff, but how Monday Night Pod goes. But me and my buddy were watching it over a Zoom together last night, and during the pre-show, Kingston had a promo backstage, and he didn't blink once. The whole thing. My buddy pointed out. He goes, "Look, he hasn't blinked." I was like, watch the rest of the promo. He didn't blink once. It was amazing. Anyway.
Well, talking about promos, here comes Austin. So I guess Bret actually broke the mic, because Austin's in there with this mic with like a long cord. It's not wireless. It's not working at all. It's awkward for a few seconds, but finally Austin gets a proper mic that is working.
You're gonna get some equipment that works around here. Or do I have to whip the piss out of you?
Bret Hart, you complain, son. You ain't done nothing but cry. Oh God. Go back to Canada, son. You've been jerked around 7 years. God damn it. Brown Undertaker. Basically, he's just mouthing off about Bret.
Go back to Canada and beat up your dad. It's the only thing you can do in his basement. It was great.
Yes, for when the mic worked, it was awesome. But as soon as that happens, we see Vince going backstage as we head to commercial break. Vince will not rejoin us for a little bit. So, first matchup. Our WWF Tag Team Champions, Owen Hart and Bulldog of Clarence Mason versus Phil LaFon and Doug Furnas. This is a non-title match. Match goes 7 minutes and 30 seconds. No entrance for LaFon and Furnas. That's not a good sign. JR during the match, JR promotes La Femme Nikita. Takes a shot at the Robin Hood debacle last week on Nitro.
That's right.
Promises us no bait and switch here at Raw.
Yeah, he said it's not some boring, what do we say? It's not some boring or lame Robin Hood thing or something like that.
He said like Nikita could face Robin Hood in the ring. Vince and Bruce had written down a bunch of notes for him. Basically, as you can imagine, a fast-paced, I wrote high, it makes no sense. A fast-paced, lots of suplexes match, technical versus the speed out of both teams, power from Davey. But it ends when Owen trips up LaFon and then hits him with the Slammy Award, allowing Davey to hit the running power slam for the win.
Yeah, there was a lot of good suplexing and ring work in this match. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like we talked about with Furnas and LaFon, where it's like these guys are great wrestlers, like really good wrestlers who are just lacking an it factor. Like there's because first of all, I can never remember which one is Furnas and which one's LaFon, even though they don't look similar at all. It's
just that tag team issue that everyone's brain has.
Well, on some things, I mean, I
can't tell the Bucks apart.
You don't know which one's Matt?
And they don't. No, and they look completely different. I'm telling you, this is just like a weird tag team thing. Until they're separated, I will never be able to tell them apart.
You couldn't tell apart Matt and Jeff Hardy or Edge and Christian?
Yeah, by the time they were separate, Edge and Christian a little bit before Matt and Jeff Hardy. No, I probably struggled until they finally started wrestling another. That doesn't mean they're separated totally, but it means that they had enough matches as singles that I was like, oh, okay, cool.
You know what? There's just I don't know, because
when they're presented in the similar ways where it gets confusing.
I'm not
so it's but when it's one big giant guy, one real small guy, okay. When you describe them as exactly this, I know it's like Matt and blonde hair and brown hair, but
I know Matt and Nick, but I think I can see where you're coming from, but there's also an it factor that comes into it because I know who Stevie Ray and who Booker T are, when I look at them.
But that's because Booker T has gone on to do such incredible things. I bet you if we were watching them in 1995 and we really weren't sure who they were, I bet you I'd be confused.
I know who Buff. I mean, I know who Buff and Scotty Riggs were. I know Marcus Bagwell.
Again, I think this is your 2020 brain of just understanding who Buff Bagwell is. If I didn't know who Buff Bagwell is, I would have gotten them confused.
That's a very fair retort. So. Yeah, maybe if one of them had gone on, it'd be better. But I don't know. I keep going back, and I'm even Skip and Zip we knew, but there's also so much drama around.
I cannot give. I mean, I could tell them apart. I will not remember which one Skip. I just guess
because names are dumb, but
right. Yes, I mean I can tell her. I mean, I think my biggest problem is I don't think they've been given the opportunity to exude anything. They don't even get a fucking entrance here. So what else do we see? It's not like they're getting promo. It's not like they're getting vignettes, some video packages. There was nothing ever explaining who they are, what their background is. I mean, JR puts over just these guys wrestled in Japan for 8 years. Okay, but that's not telling us anything about their character or anything about who they are. Listen, I agree. I don't think they have that much charisma, and that is a huge issue, but I don't think they were even given the chance. If you don't have charisma, then you cover it up with things that hide the fact that they don't have charisma. Instead, they sort of went all in on technical guys, clean look, nothing to them. That's their gimmick. But it's that was sort of the gimmick of FTR in WWE, but it was a joke. They really did have all that stuff. It was this gimmick we're just old school wrestlers, but they really weren't on any level.
Yeah, well, there's just a pacing that they were trying to do with that. But yeah, you're right. If they were to match these guys with a mouthpiece or something like that, they'd be so much more effective and so much more interesting. And, I'm sure that because the podheads are locked into this, man, then some of you, yes, you're experiencing the Monday Night Wars for the first time through us. And we are very glad to be doing that with you. And some of you are reliving the Monday Night Wars with us. And I'm sure that some of you are thinking back and saying something, Furnas and LaFon, they had a match on Saturday night where they were given some mic time or something like that. I'm sure there's something that's happened somewhere. But again,
I don't know. I bet you it has.
well, it's likely that something could have happened somewhere. But again, I'm just reminding us of the thesis statement here. Monday Night Pod, this is all about the context of the Monday Night Wars, and nothing else can really play into it. Whoops.
Try. But you know what? That noise, Adam, brings up something I didn't tell you. No, it's okay. So for listeners out there, we're going deep off track, but it's okay. I've never owned an iPhone, as Adam knows, because he texted me, and I'm a green dot on his phone.
Yep. It's been a pain in my ass for, what have we known each other for? 10 years now? God damn.
I did something, Adam.
Oh, God. The end of an era.
Something's coming to my apartment on Friday.
Woo! Did you go with the Max?
I bought the Pro Max. I hate myself. Really, really angry at myself about it, but there were a lot of reasons. I will do a video for you guys that actually want to know why I bought it. I'll put a little tease out there, and you can check out my Brunch Boys YouTube. But yeah, I had to get a new phone, and I decided that it was going to be the best for business.
Well, well, welcome to the dark side, my friend. I have an 11 Pro Max that I got 3 months before the 12 came out, and that does not make me insane at all. But I enjoy it very much, and I think you will enjoy yours as well. But Furnace and LaFon are boring enough for us to talk about them for 20 minutes, I guess. Let's keep chugging along in this show, shall we?
Great. Next up, Farouk with the Nation Domination versus Bart Gunn. This match goes 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Numbers of Nation Domination are growing every single day. This week, in particular, I see D-Lo back there, but a bunch of other people too. Remember when Billy Gunn died in the ring?
Yeah, that was tragic, and his child was supposed to be in the front row, but because of our insight on Monday Night Pod, we know that we were getting worked there.
Yeah, but funny that never came up again.
Not even in the video package form or anything like that.
Nothing. Just it main evented Raw.
No mentioning by the announcers here.
No follow-up.
Nothing.
Anyway,
stupid marks have no idea. We're focusing on Shawn Michaels now. God damn it.
Hey, you know what? If that was a decision, I'm here for it. Billy Gunn hits a Bulldog, but PG-13. I wrote down Gunn, Bart Gunn, Billy Gunn. Yes, of course. Bart Gunn hits a Bulldog. PG-13 gets involved by grabbing his leg. He goes to the outside to go after them. Farouk's able to get in like a cheap shot on him on the outside. Crush then rolls Gunn into the ring, allowing Farouk to hit the Dominator for the win.
So, it's funny. I called Furnace and LaFon boring, but actually their match was quite good, especially compared to this match, which was boring.
This is trash.
Oh God, it's how long did you say it was?
Around 5 minutes and 15 seconds.
And do you think more or less than 50% of that match was spent with Bart in a headlock? Pretty close.
I give it 50-50.
Pretty close. But you know what? If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all, they say. But not in the podcast world, obviously. But I will say that the Dominator is one of my favorite finishers ever.
Yeah, it's nasty looking.
Yeah, I love that move, and I wish that somebody still used it as a finisher.
It's probably hard. You got to be fucking strong.
I was about to say, I'm not sure who I would put that onus on, because you have to be a beast to be able to do that. It's a very you got to be
muscle them up.
Yeah, and then muscle them down very much.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like something that a lot of people would be able to do, but just to make it look cool, you have to be somebody with the power of a Braun Strowman.
Right. I mean, if anything, probably the smaller guys, it's easier for them to do, but the look won't have the impact unless they're a bigger guy.
Yeah. That's why I say Braun Strowman, Wardlow, right. Maybe
Lars Sullivan.
Lars, sure. I don't know. Lars has a 5-star match under his belt, man. I know everyone loves to hate on Lars. He's got a 5-star match under his belt.
I don't hate him because of his in-ring issues, Adam.
No, I know. He's a complicated man.
Anyway.
Speaking of complicated, situation with the Royal Rumble. My goodness.
Yeah, so Vinnie Mac and Gorilla come down as we go to commercial and come back in there in the ring. Let's see here. So Gorilla has an invitation for Bret Hart. Austin is going to be the official Royal Rumble winner. However, he does not get the title shot at WrestleMania. There will be a 4-way man elimination match, and that winner gets the title shot at WrestleMania. It's going to be The Undertaker, Vader, and Bret Hart, all screwed out of winning the Royal Rumble, versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And here comes Stone Cold, and he is one pissed off son of a bitch. He yells at Gorilla about Bret quitting. He's just going off on Gorilla. Blah, 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 blah. Ain't no way I'm going to be back in that match. Austin gets in Vince's face as we see Bret come back through the crowd, grabs the mic, and says he accepts. Bret and Austin start brawling as we head to commercial. We come back from commercial, and officials are still trying to keep Bret and Austin apart. But Undertaker's like, well, we're having this match. Here he comes. So it's supposed to be Stone Cold versus Undertaker in the main event. Taker comes down, immediately starts beating up Bret Hart, allowing Austin to attack him from behind. Wild brawling before they even get into the ring for the match to officially begin. And once it does, the match goes 6 minutes and 30 seconds. The entire match, Taker apparently has rib injuries from last night. We know that because, again, nothing's ever subtle here in the WWF. King yells it over and over and over and over and over again, yelling at Austin to try and take advantage of the hurt ribs. It is obnoxiously stupid. Anyway, we cut backstage. You see Vader and Bret Hart are trying to go after each other, but officials are holding them back. Eventually, Vader rumbles down to the ring and interferes, causing the DQ, I guess, was the end of the match. He eats chokeslam for coming. Here comes Bret, and it's just a massive brawl as the show goes off the air.
Now, you just covered about 25 minutes of the show right there.
I know. It was like 15 minutes now.
All right. Regardless, I just want a couple of thoughts to get out here. So for the Gorilla Monsoon segment, hell of a match, Gorilla. Way to go. This is
the first ever. I don't think there's ever been a 4-way match in WWF, which is why he even had to explain the rules of like there's no DQ because you can't really get DQ. Although in an elimination match you could get DQ. So I don't know why he said that.
I thought he just said disqualification. I didn't hear him say no disqualification. I heard him say elimination, disqualification. Like he stuttered.
Does that make any sense?
No, that's why I wrote that down. I was like, huh? What?
Oh,
like,
in my brain, I guess I thought he said no. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
I guess
I could look
stuttered through it or something like that. I'm sure that's what the intention of it was, but said disqualification. The second thing that I thought was curious, and I texted a friend of ours actually who works with the hearing impaired about this. Just curious about her input. But I had the closed captions on while I was watching this, and this is an interesting thing. And I wonder if it's this way across the entire WWE network, and I find it stupid and weird. But when Gorilla said World Wrestling Federation, and the closed captions.
So this was a no DQ match. So he did say that.
All right. No, I mean, it makes sense. I just think he flipped the line. But when he says the word World Wrestling Federation, the closed captions on the WWE network say World Wrestling Entertainment. Right? Which is weird. And when he says the word, the letters WWF, the closed captions say WWE. I find that very interesting, and I texted our friend about it because I was like, you work with the hearing disabled. Is this like illegal? Because the closed captions are there to help the hearing impaired, really, in the end. And isn't it weird that they're not saying to the hearing impaired what the actual lines were? That just feels weird to me.
So my guess, there's two possibilities. One, you have to remember the rules about where you could say WWF and where you could say WWE on the network are, if it is only archival footage, you could say WWF. So in the case of Raw, it's archival. It hasn't been touched. It just is what it is. Anything that is presented as new in any way has to have WWE. So my one guess is because the closed captioning is new, it has to be the new way to say it. The other way I'm thinking is that what they did is they went into the system, did a quick search for WWF, and basically set it for anytime something says WWF, replace all with WWE.
Replace all. I could see where you would say that, but I think having like spoken to some friends about how closed captioning works and all, I think more so it would have to be a direct order from when they were getting people to do the closed captions. Like that would have to be an active thing that they had on there.
Well, yeah, I mean, no matter the answer, it was clearly designed to switch it. It wasn't an accident.
Yeah. It's clearly direct, but I find it weird because the point of closed captioning is to give people who need it an ability to know what was said, and that is not what's being said on those.
I have a third theory. They wrote all the closed captionings when they weren't allowed to say WWF at all. And they're lazy about once they got it back, they're like, we're not fucking redoing a closed captioning. Just upload it to the network.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, why are we gonna pay a minimum wage person to do closed captions again on all of our
caption? By the way, you say that closed captioning is incredibly expensive, Adam.
Yeah, for the for the client.
Yeah. Not that it's not important, but it is legally mandated, so that's why it's a lot of places.
I'm surprised that's not one of the things that they had us do when we were logging through, or at least
thank God, because nobody would be able to understand if I had to type all that shit out.
Oh God, sometimes we would get through, a suspicious amount of hours of footage per shift. We'd work a 8-hour shift or whatever it would be, and someone would get through 9 hours of footage. They'd be like,
really good.
Yeah, right. I can only imagine. God dang. If you don't understand, listeners, podheads at home, you really don't understand how tough it is to transcribe something until you sit down and try and transcribe something. Go ahead, take a 1-minute YouTube video where people are just speaking back and forth to each other. Take 1 minute out of this show and try and transcribe.
I used to have to do that when I worked when I was working at SY. I would there were two options. I could stop and go I would have to transcribe. Even when I was working all TV, I guess I had to transcribe a lot.
Yeah, I did come to the early stages of my career.
If I had to start and stop, it would take me forever. So you know what you do? You get to be a good fucking typer. And I was able to I'd live do it and then go back and clean up. It was way faster. So actually kind of was, but it was incredibly difficult. I mean, eventually you just sort of create your own shorthands a little bit, just so you're never typing full word, like enough. Because people read shorthands anyway. Like it doesn't need to be word for word exactly. But yes, it is incredibly difficult.
Unless they say it needs to be word for word exactly for whatever the fuck you're doing. But regardless, anyway, so that was Gorilla talking on the mic. Stone Cold versus Undertaker, this match. It's kind of the standard like Undertaker match that you're thinking from this era. I like that they're like Stone Cold hit a real stiff looking stunner. Like if you can imagine what a stiff stunner is, like Stone Cold hit a hell of a stiff stunner. But then they did that thing that I fucking hate. That's like, I think deserved at the end of like when you're going into 20 minutes of an epic battle, when like someone hits a finisher and then is like unable to make the cover. But like when you're in a 6-minute match and Stone Cold hits like the sickest looking stunner and then like is past.
Adam, he competed in an hour-long Royal Rumble last night. He's so exhausted.
I'm not here for that excuse, brother. I'm sorry. I still hate it. But and I hate the finish here. I understand we got a 4-man story to sell. I just hate non-finishes. I feel spoiled now having a year of Dynamite behind us where there were like 2 non-finishes in the entire year. But like I hate non-finishes, man. I'm just over it.
I disagree. I think where does a finish get you? Now you have a pinfall in this match of like now they're less than somebody. You have a big fucking brawl and everyone's going nuts at the ends of Raw. By the way, hot crowd all night. Congratulations to the town. I couldn't say, but they were in it.
Yeah. It's also we have a live crowd, so it's different. So like when they're chanting, You know, what were they chanting? They were chanting for Brett, I think, in the early part of the show. Like it felt like, you know, you heard real things. It wasn't them like shoving it in there in post and it being totally obvious. But
that's Raw.
Well, the main story being told in the WWF is an interesting story. Now,
yep, I thought I really liked the episode. Obviously not heavy on matches, but I think what we got was pretty good. Like the tag team match.
It was kind of heavy on matches. It was like mostly matches.
But in the matches, nothing happens.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, to me, it was this one big story they were telling that took up 5 segments, you know?
That's true. Well, Jer, what do you think about heading over to Nitro?
I say let's do it. This is episode 71, and they're live from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois.
That's right, baby.
So live, there's not even time for a show open because here we go. Macho Man,
Woo!
He's back, running out through the crowd. By God, he's here.
Wearing black and white, by the way.
Wearing black and white. We haven't seen him since Halloween Havoc. I think that's what they said.
That's what they said. Halloween Havoc.
Anyway, he says that he's been blackballed, but he's not leaving until he talks to someone that's got some major stroke. I message for Bischoff. You can kiss my ass. Takes out a steel chair, sits in the middle of the ring, and is not going to leave until he gets the answers that he wants, Adam. So the matchup next was supposed to be Chavo Guerrero Jr. versus Max Muscle. So out comes Chavo. He's a little upset. He's obviously supposed to have a match. He gets in the ring. He's like, come on, Ramsey, like, oh, this is much. I got this match. You're sitting around the what are you doing, brother? This goes on for a few minutes. Chavo is like getting more and more and more frustrated. Finally, Savage stands up only to deck Chavo and throw him out of the ring. Next up, here's Max Muscle, who was supposed to be match 2. Guess what happens to him? Bam! Get the fuck out of the ring. Savage
crowd is hot as shit, by the way.
Bro, the crowd is going insane.
Yeah.
Savage slaps the shit out of the ref, tosses him out of the ring too. Here's Doug Dillinger, the head of WCW Security. Savage shoves his old ass to the ground. Here's Alex Wright. Guess what happens to him?
By the way, Doug Dillinger, when he falls back, like hits his head on the lower rope. It looked
gross.
bad. It looked bad. That's like how somebody's gonna like get paralyzed.
Yeah, I mean, although WCW doesn't use steel ropes, so at least it's a little.
They use cable. They use cable.
Oh, I'm sorry. They use cable. Yeah, I got it confused. Yes, you're right. So it's even worse. Anyway, here comes Sting flying down from the rafters. Good God. Comes into the ring, points a bat at Savage, gets into the ring. Sting puts a bat right into his neck and starts shoving Savage with it. Then he just hands him the bat, turns his back, and gives Savage that one free shot. Instead, Savage throws him the bat right back to him. Pretty good catch. Grabs it right in the middle of the air. I thought it was pretty impressive to try and do live in front of 35,000 people. Sting and Savage, and then just walk out through the crowd together.
Woo, yeah. That was a hot start for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Crowd is nuts. I mean, you know, Chicago crowds. You never go wrong there. But this was a lot of fun, man. Everybody's into it. Who's not stoked about Macho being back? Macho is obviously the GOAT, and I have no complaints about this opener.
Nope. Hot way to start.
And we still don't know Sting's allegiances yet. And so we have Macho out here in the NWO colors and everything like
Sting also.
Sting always in his NWO colors. And like when you said like too that like Sting came down from the rafters, like Sting came down from the rafters in that like fucking badass way that he would. Like where it was fast. Where he dropped. Like they're not
to not look good.
Well,
I mean, it looked good, but it looked scary.
Yeah, it looked scary, but it looked cool too. Like, you know, it's as opposed to just like me.
Right. No, he flew
down. He just like woof. Like he just goes down 30 feet immediately, and then is like
more than that. He was at the top of the fucking center. I mean, whatever.
That's true. Yeah, we're in the United Center here. Which, by the way, have we talked about this on Monday Night Pod at all? Like, it's so weird that WWE has never been able to run shows out of the United Center. I don't want to say ever,
because
but don't.
I believe they have, but they were pissed off because WCW had it, so they've stuck it to them for 30 years.
I know that's my point. It's weird. It's been 20 years since.
Well, I think WWF loves running. What's the other arena called?
The Rosemont Horizon.
Yeah, they love that arena. They love running shows out of there. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's a.
I mean, it also might be an issue that they have an MSG, which is using the United Center is way more expensive, which is why WWE runs Barclays now instead of MSG, especially for television, because they have to deal with a lot of union issues that they don't want to pay for. So running a show at the Garden is like 5 times more expensive as other places. Now the revenue is higher, but they've done the math where it's not as high as you would think. So that might be part of it as well.
And the whole thing in Rosemont too, in Illinois, I know that they've talked about how like that building in particular, just the way that it's built with the architecture of the roof, is that like it makes the crowd noise for whatever reason go straight into the middle of the ring, the way that the acoustics work there. And so everybody always talks about how it's like, like that's the place to have your shit, like everybody loves performing there because of that.
Austin's favorite.
Yeah. A lot of people said just. I was listening to Miro on Talk is Jericho this week, and he was talking about it in a very similar way when they decided to have his last surprise return the week before they went to Chicago. He goes, they did it in Knoxville. No disrespect to our fans in Knoxville, but next week was Chicago. So anyway, speaking of Chris Jericho.
Yes, next up, our first match is Alex Wright versus Chris Jericho. This match goes 2 minutes and 30 seconds. No entrance for either, but I guess Alex Wright was already out there, so that's one of my pet peeves is going out, just come right back. So that's good. Anyway, crowd chants boring as Jericho is able to reverse Wright's, I forget something, into a forward roll for the win.
Which is
quite
brutal.
the victory.
It's brutal that they're chanting that because actually this is a pretty fun, fast back and forth match. Like, I
think it just proves to you that no one gives a shit about Alex Wright, and they're literally rolling around the ring.
I guess there's not a rest hold in this match. There's just the whole time.
Savage just made Alex Wright his bitch.
Yeah,
minutes earlier. Why would somebody care about this match?
Well, ideally you care about Jericho. He's got so many stories going on, but it was what it needed to be. It was quick. It was a nice little showcase for 2 young guys, and now we're moving on.
Great. Next up, Fake Sting versus Scottie Riggs. This match goes 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Get ready for a lot of this tonight. Riggs has a pin, but like an idiot gets up when he sees Buff Bagwell coming down the entrance ramp. Stupid. Riggs looks like he still might have it when just the NWB team runs in and they start to beat the shit. They try to beat the shit out of him. Riggs goes running. They announce Riggs as the winner, but the NWOB team gets in the ring announcer Dave Penzer's face and makes him reverse the call. The call of the ring announcer is not official, but they make him say it anyway, that it's actually a count-out victory for Fake Sting.
Yeah, even though I think Randy Anderson or somebody is right there, like shaking their head while the announcer's saying,
right.
The referee. But yeah, it's funny that you say the NWOB team too, because I was watching it and I was like, oh yeah, these are all like the chump NWO people. You said Buff Bagwell. He had Buff on the back of his shirt, but is he still Bagwell? Has he come out as Buff yet?
He's transitioning, but I think from now I'll go ahead and call him Buff.
Right. When you see that guy, you say that's Buff Bagwell. But right now I think he's just Marcus Bagwell moving into it. He's lost the Alexander, so there's that much going for him.
Next up, we got a little pre-tape here. Ric Flair's with a Chicago Blackhawks player. This is taped yesterday, something like that, because the Blackhawks are playing in Buffalo. This man is very tall, and I don't know. They just talk about the NWO and shit.
Well, Bob Probert was he was a Blackhawk back in the day, and he was known as like just a goon. Like all he did.
He looks like just a goon.
Yeah, you're right though. He's like a foot tall. Flair. Yeah. Yeah, he was just a goon, and that's when the Hawks still sucked. So, whatever. They're getting that part. They're getting that hometown pop. They're going for that a couple of times tonight because we're gonna hear a hometown pop for somebody who does not usually get the pop.
No, next up, it's Arn and Mongo of Deborah versus Eddie Guerrero and Jeff Jarrett. This match goes 3 minutes 45 seconds. Yes, the crowd is going batshit crazy for Mongo. Just the thought, like when the anticipation of Mongo getting into the ring, they started roaring, and then he gets in and just, holy Lord, he's over.
Yeah, I this put a dumb smile on my face because as much shit as we like to give Mongo on the show, he's never struck me as a bad guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's just a bad wrestler. You know, like he's just a bad entertainer, but like in such a way that it's still entertaining. Yeah, you know, he's just, and so like this put a smile on my face to see people stoked for Mongo, because you could tell with him too. There's another thing they were talking about on the Miro episode of Talk is Jericho, is about like when you're having fun out there, the people have fun, right? And you can tell Mongo was having a great time out there.
Everything he did got a reaction.
Every dumb little not that good thing that he did got a great reaction. Absolutely.
Anyway, at one point we see Eddie just running away into the back. No idea why, because the cameras catch none of this. Eventually the announcers have to clear up that Six was standing somewhere. They never got any shots of it. They never showed any of it on camera. They just sort of were like, where's Eddie?
Because
yeah, someone told me Six was out. Yeah. Something about Six. Sure. Because
remember, Six still has Eddie's U.S. title.
Yes, and they're facing each other at Souled Out on this Saturday.
Anyway,
in the ladder match. Arn hits a spine buster and locks Jeff in a Boston Crab. Mongo is like kicking the back of Jeff, like just going at him. Deborah throws in her sash, whatever you want to call it.
Her Miss Tennessee,
Illinois, or something,
or Miss Illinois, or whatever.
For having Jeff submit, I guess, give up.
The equivalent of throwing in the towel, which is interesting because she doesn't represent him. But the ref took that, which is dumb, because if you were like a manager, wouldn't you just immediately throw the towel in for the other, for your you know what I mean? Like start of the match, just throw it in. He gives up. If the ref's going to accept that, you know.
Anyway, even though Arn gets the win, he is pissed at Deborah. Mean Gene is out in the entranceway. He brings out Flair, a Benoit woman, to join the rest of the Horsemen for a very Horseman interview. Flair says he's still putting his body back together, but the Horsemen are not a unit right now as they've been in the past. Flair wants them to be horsemen first, and then they could deal with the women later. Arn says this is a man's game. Mongo grabs the mic. Mean Gene doesn't even want to talk to him. Mongo literally grabs it. Like Mean Gene's trying to kick it out of his hand. Mongo's like, Chicago! Mongo's home! Anyway, Deborah gets the mic. She again has the most heat of anybody on the show.
Vicky Guerrero heat.
Yeah, Benoit reminds Mongo and Deborah that this is all about wrestling. They start to walk off. Deborah makes sure she gets the last word in, calling woman fat or whatever she says.
Sure, yeah, because that's what you think of when you look at woman. But regardless, good story going on with the Horsemen. Love dissension in the ranks style stories. That's always entertaining to me. Everybody's over. Everybody's having a good time. I'm digging it. I like it. And especially, like we were talking about in recent weeks, Deborah having it together, like having put the pieces together for like getting that mega heat that she gets. Even Woman is still just kind of around. You know what I mean? Like she's she's an inciting incident, I guess, for the Benoit Sullivan feud. But like other than that, she's not really kind of bringing to the Horsemen the kind of direct entertainment and drama that Deborah is. So either way, really enjoying this, really enjoying where it's going.
Next up, we got a little pre-tape thing from Bischoff that actually aired on Saturday night. So we're not going to dig too deep into it because I don't review things that happen on other shows that are then played in full because it just makes you angry. But anyway, it goes on forever regardless. It's very NWO style promo, black and white, blah, 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 blah. He's just, Bischoff is running down every one of their enemies.
Yeah, he's on a motorcycle. He's talking about how, he has the two things Macho Man wants. Wait, what was it fully that? Because he did address Macho Man. Because he said, Macho, I've got the two things. He said, like, the two things I have you want are my hair and Miss Liz or whatever. Elizabeth is right there, holding a little.
He's making her film it. Yeah.
Yeah. But, well, whatever. Bischoff is, what I was thinking of when I was watching this is Bischoff. It's interesting that Bischoff unlocked the idea for the heel owner of the company before Vince did, because there's no question that Vince did it better. Stone Cold versus Vince, I think, stays easily in the top 3 feuds of all time. But it's interesting to see, like, Bischoff was the one to figure this out first, that, like, I can get mega heat this way and it's gonna work, and it's working great.
Next up, Cruiserweight Championship match, Ultimo Dragon with Sonny Ono versus Dean Malenko. This match goes 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Very much what you would expect. High flying with lots of wrestling counters. Dragon is able to reverse a brainbuster attempt by Dean and roll him up for the win.
Did you think that, because they never got, like, a very clear shot of it, clearly after the match, Dragon's face was busted up because his teeth are all bloody. I thought that it was tough to see just because they were moving so fast, and we have the definition of cameras in 1997 here, but it looked like Dean got a bloody nose too really quick. Like, this is for 4.5 minutes, like, like, these guys are moving.
I mean, it's more interesting to me, and this will sort of play out the rest of the show, is so they have a Clash of the Champions tomorrow night. They have Sold Out on Saturday. So you're promoting 2 big shows coming up this 1 week. And they do this a Clash every single week. They never build storylines to it. They're just like, oh, fuck, yeah. I mean, by the way, Clash of Champions is tomorrow. I know it's just like our big network thing, but, like, whatever, who cares? So, like, even this match, they're like, this is like you said, a hard-hitting, like, beating the shit out of each other match. For the championship, they're like, it ends, and like, cool, all right, so rematch is actually tomorrow night. Cool, yeah. Because it's like they didn't know what to do. Like, it's as if Clash of Champions snuck out on all of them always. Like, they laid out Nitro. They're like, hey, Eric, we got the Clash thing tomorrow night. What do we're building towards Sold Out, obviously, but we're hitting the crescendo for that pay-per-view. But what do we do about tomorrow night? It's just like, run the same matches.
Yeah, right. And, like, yeah, why even have Clashes close to Sold Out as it is? But, like, whatever.
Stupid. Anyway, hour 2 begins. We see Tony, finally. He's in a Blackhawks jersey for you, Adam.
He sure was. He was in the one I liked, too.
What's the white one? He's joined by Bobby McTenay, and here we go. WCW Television Championship match this time. Steven Rigo versus Jacques Rougeau. This match goes 2 minutes. Jacques Rougeau does the Amazing French Canadians gimmick. Obviously, Regal doesn't even get an entrance. Sure.
That's champion,
Parker gets in the ring and, like a dummy, hits Jacques Rougeau by accident instead of Steven Regal, and it's a DQ.
Yeah, it's very, very in front of the ref. Like, there is no real effort to keep it hidden from the ref, which is silly considering you're the manager of a guy in a TV title match. Like, a tag team guy who's in a TV title match. Like, just think, being a manager, if you were able to manage a tag team and had the opportunity to have one of the guys in your tag team win a singles title, wouldn't that be huge? Like, wouldn't, like, a Paul Heyman or somebody like that, like, make a big deal about making that happen? Just a thought. Just a little bit of a throwaway thing here. But as we know, they've sort of always treated the TV title as throwaway on, at least when it wasn't with DDP. I guess they kind of had it a little better when it was with DDP, but not that much better.
I'd say it only meant something in the 80s. Anyway, Regal's a face now also, I guess.
Yeah, right, yeah. I mean, look, the crowd was buying him.
Yeah.
But I think that might also go better to the it might speak more to Jacques Rougeau's ability to be hated at that moment. I mean, obviously we know Regal is good too, but yeah, there we go.
Next up is Chris Benoit versus Kevin Sullivan. This match starts wild and crazy, Adam. They are brawling in the back. They couldn't even make it to the ring. Immediately, they ends up in the men's bathroom, just beating the shit out of each other. Jimmy Hart was there too, just everyone screaming and violence. The United Center is just going nuts. They try and fight out of the bathroom, and they can't even squeeze by all of the people in the corridor that are just there screaming and yelling in your face. Like it is wild.
Well, I think Taskmaster and Benoit were able to get past them, but the funny thing,
camera guy could not.
As you mentioned, the camera guy, woman, and the referee are all stuck behind a wall of people behind in the men's room. Like they can't get out to follow this. It's pretty funny.
Anyway, they start slowly making their way down towards ringside. At one point, Sullivan grabs beer, throws in Benoit's face. Benoit grabs a soda from the fans, throws in Sullivan's face. They make it all the way back to the ring, and the match officially begins. Remember, they are also facing each other tomorrow night at Clash of Champions. But anyway, low blow in front of the ref by Kevin Sullivan, but no DQ. A woman then starts yelling at the ref for not calling it. Jimmy Hart hands Sullivan the ring bell, and Benoit jumps off the top rope going for a diving headbutt. Sullivan uses the bell to whack him in the head and is able to pin him for the win.
Do you think they added the sound effect of the bell to the network afterwards?
I don't think so. You saw Benoit smack it with his hands, so
yeah, okay.
I think that was there. I don't think they would take the time to add a ring bell noise to.
Well, there's a good bell noise when he gets hit. That's all I'm trying to get at here.
Or I mean, he definitely smacked it. I saw him hit it with his hands. I mean, Sullivan's also able to jigger things, I guess, with it to time it right. But yeah. I think it just
regardless,
two pros.
This was a war. This was like a real I think they should have had more time. Like they probably should have just said, fuck this next match we're going to talk about, and just given this the time. But as you said, they have more confrontations coming in, so you can't just spend it all in one place.
Yeah, they probably should have just had the brawl and been like, well, this match is not happening tonight, but guess what? They're facing each other tomorrow night, so don't worry about it. Why even have a quote unquote legitimate match after all this? It's odd.
If it's that short, either double the time or don't do it at all.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, here comes the NWO. Bischoff, DiBiase, Kevin Nash are going to be the commentators for the rest of tonight. And our first match is Carl Ouellette versus Colonel Robert with Colonel Robert Parker versus Jim Duggan. This match goes 1 minute. Carl again does the Mason French Canadians gimmick singing, but Duggan interrupts it. Comes out with this gigantic WCW flag. Cool. During this match, Bischoff announces all the changes he's making to the rest of the card. Jacques Rougeau comes out of ringside to try and distract Duggan, allowing Carl to get the advantage. But the Steiners then run down and take out Jacques, so he can't get involved in the rest of the match. Scottie then gets up, nails Carl, and Jim hits him with his taped fist for the win.
For some reason, the Steiners out for this. And Hacksaw got a ton of fireworks for this too coming out.
Yes.
Kind of funny as he's waving that WCW flag that, again, we mentioned on this show. I know it's somewhere right now. I know it wasn't just thrown away. It's in somebody's basement in North Carolina. It's somewhere. It's in the Turner Broadcast Building in Georgia. I don't know. But I want to know where that giant-ass WCW flag is because I'm interested. Second, obviously, Hacksaw. This is a Hacksaw match or whatever. Third, I'm disappointed in you, Jer Bear, for how cultured and worldly I know that you are, that you called him Carl Ouellette. Come on. It's Carl Ouellette.
What's his name?
It's Carl Ouellette.
Whatever.
It's Ouellette.
Whatever.
Disrespecting his French Canadianisms. My goodness. We have podheads in French Canada.
I said Jacques Rougeau, right?
Yeah, you sure did. You sure did. But 50% ain't a passing grade, my friend. Anyway, it's a punch kick match. It's a Hacksaw Jim Duggan match.
It goes 1 minute.
Yeah, and all the shenanigans with the Steiners and stuff like that was just such bad timing, clearly in front of the ref. You know, if the ref had any peripheral vision whatsoever, he'd see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's 4 sides to a ring, right? So if you're going to distract the ref, then have him distracted on one of the 4 sides that your interference isn't happening on, right?
Right.
So when they're both on the same side of the ring with the same set of ropes in front of them, there's only like 3 feet for them to be apart from each other. When this is whatever, I shouldn't dig too much into it. It's Carl Ouellet versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Like, cool. Let's move on.
Next up, we get a recap of all the DDP stuff from last week.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
Dramatic.
Then our next match is Squire Dave Taylor versus Masahiro Chono. This match was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So Dave Taylor, obviously separated from Regal, still called Squire, but he has new ring gear at him. I would describe it as what you think an imperial British person would wear on a holiday in the Sahara.
So not too dissimilar to Colonel Robert Parker then.
Yeah, which makes it more confusing.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Then he goes down to just the pants for when he wrestles.
Yes, just like the tan khaki, whatever. Anyway, Nick Patrick runs down to take over officiating duty. So we know how this is going to go. Anyway, Patrick screws Taylor the whole time. Mafia kick, locks on the STF, and Taylor taps out.
I like that they're letting Kono do a hard Japanese style here. You know, he was working the match stiff, was hitting him good. And
Adam, I just want to say, to respect to our Japanese followers, that's Chono.
Chono. I said Kono. My bad. Kono. Well,
Bam! That's what you get, Adam.
That's right. Yeah. Damn. So I get the French Canadians and you get the Japanese on your side. I'm the Sony fanboy here. What the fuck? You know what it is my auto correcting here is going to the word Chrono because Chrono Trigger is my favorite game of all time, and in fact probably the single most influential piece of media on my life that I've ever had experienced. And so I write it all the time, and so my auto stuff is trying to change Chono to Chrono, and I'm like, no, and it's just getting in my head. But you know, excuses.
That's funny, Adam. When I was in Japan, they were like, it's not that actually hard of the English translations to it aren't that hard to say necessarily because there's not a lot of syllables and words. Or we've spoken about sports, like it's very what you read is what you say it generally. But there are a lot of words that are confusing. And when I was in Japan, people were like, how did you, like, you said that properly. How did you say to know that? I was like, wrestling. Like a lot of the wrestlers' names come from Japanese things. So I'm so used to seeing that name and knowing how it's supposed to be pronounced that I actually knew how to say it.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So like, like Nakamura is not like Nakamura or something.
Or like Asuka.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
like
true.
that kind of stuff.
It's got a U in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Very cool. Well, anyway, Masahiro, or as Bischoff called him, Masa My Hero, Chono. I did it again. Chono. For the win. I like a good STF. So there you go.
Yep. Moving on. Next up, Booker T with Sister Sherry versus Scott Hall. They said this is Scott Hall's first match on Nitro, his first singles match, I guess, maybe?
Yeah, and definitely his first time wearing that iconic red and black gear that Scott Hall was known for during his time there. So, all right, pretty cool. Let's do it.
Match was 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Nick Patrick is still the ref for this match. So you can imagine what happens. Outsider Edge kills Booker for the win.
Now, that's Booker fucking T, man. That's half of Harlem Heat right there. Who did he piss off to lose in 2 minutes to Scott Hall in the main event? That's not a place you put Booker T.
Well, not the main event yet, Adam.
Well, sorry. In one of this late in the card. You know, even if it was early in the card, even if it was middle of the card, why Booker T? Booker T is one of your, like, Harlem Heat is one of your acts. Like, they're WCW. It just felt weird to do a 2 minute, like, clean loss like that with Booker T, of all people. You know, go reach back into your bag of tricks and pull out an Alex Wright if you had to there. Or, like, gosh, they've got such a loaded roster. Like you could go with a Joe Gomez or something like that. If you want to do tag team people, pick up the guys from High Voltage or whatever. Put Kenny Chaos in there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, weird, but exciting to see Hall in his iconic gear and know that that's what we're moving towards.
Yep. Next up, we might have the same notes again, Adam. Stevie Ray with Sister Sherry versus Lex Luger. This match goes 2 minutes and 15 seconds. They slug it out for a few minutes, but then power slam, rack, done.
I have the exact same notes. Who did Harlem Heat piss off? That you're going to bury both of Harlem Heat in singles matches at the end of the night. I mean, yeah, sure, it's Lex Luger you got going on here, but like, it's Harlem Heat, man. Mm-hmm. Those guys are Hall of Famers, rightfully so. And I know you have this whole Luger destroying giants kind of thing, and Stevie Ray is a big motherfucker, but like, why? Why Stevie Ray? Why are we doing this?
Here's my guess. So they are facing the Outsiders at the Souled Out pay-per-view this Saturday.
Right.
I'm sorry, no, they're not. My whole point was going out the window. I'm literally reading it and I read it wrong. So the Steiners are facing the Outsiders at Souled Out. Sure. Makes no sense.
Steiners who interfered in the Hacksaw Jim Duggan match.
Yes.
Where Hacksaw Jim Duggan, friend of the show, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, I should say, was, I don't know. That it's weird for that to be the time that like you'd advance that story.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's not like Hacksaw was even facing somebody from the NWO at that point. He's facing Carl Ouellette, as you like to say.
Sounds right to me. Before we get to our main event promo, since I have it in front of me, the NWO Souled Out pay-per-view is one of the worst pay-per-views of all time.
Okay, all right. Let's play the game.
It's a little more confusing because we have Clash of Champions, so maybe stuff could happen there. But sure, if you want to run down, Adam, there are 8 matches on this card.
All right. So I wouldn't have noted unless you just said it, but we have Outsiders versus the Steiners.
Yep.
Which may have been talked about on commentary for a moment, but
yeah, a little bit. Like Nash was trashing a lot of people, so I'm sure he brought up Rick and Scott.
Yeah. Yeah. And Nash is always good on commentary too. He does such a great job where he like puts over people while also making them jumps at the same time. So let's see. All right, we have Outsiders versus the Steiners. We have the ladder match with I almost called him X-Pac, with Six versus Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
We have Hulk Hogan versus the Giant, which we're going to get into a little bit more here. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm at 3 out of 8 matches.
Yep.
I think just because of some back and forth talk on commentary during the match, we have Masahiro Chono versus Chris Jericho.
Yep, that opens the show.
4. All right,
you're never gonna get the other ones, but you want to take it. You might get one of them.
Sting versus Sting.
No, Sting does not get into ring till next Starrcade, Adam. So you don't worry about that.
That's true. I am at a loss. Why don't you tell me what the rest of the Souled Out card is?
Sure. Match number 2 is Big Bubba versus Hugh Morris.
Nope. Never in a million years.
Next.
I want to see that match.
Yeah. Next is Jeff Jarrett versus Mr. Wall Street.
They have a lot of balls having people pay for this pay-per-view. My goodness.
Garbage. Buff Bagwell versus Scottie Riggs.
That's a good, that's something you do want to see because it's a
story
of a tag team, yeah.
And Scott Norton versus DDP.
So after DDP punks the NWO like he did in one of the most memorable moments from the early days of the Monday Night Wars, he goes up against Scott Flash Norton.
And he loses via countout.
What?
It is.
We're supposed to be.
It's a terrible show.
We're supposed to be at 1997 WCW here, not 2000 WCW.
Well, let me just run through this main event and then I'll say what else to say. Main event promo, sorry. Here comes Hogan. Hogan poses. Here comes Giant. He's pissed off. Security stops him before he can get into the ring. And the show just goes off the air. I think that this show, you say this is supposed to be 1997 Nitro. This show is sort of captures every single thing that ended up being wrong with WCW.
Yeah.
Matches were all garbage. There was no clean finishes. Even the major, there were some cool stuff. I'd say the stuff with Sting and Macho Man were great, but in terms of what we got with like even Giant Hogan, what the fuck was that?
Yeah,
like,
it was. You didn't say what Hogan said. I know podheads at
say anything.
Podheads at home are on the edge of their seats trying to listen to it. You know, Doug Funny is doing another road trip across the country. He's listening to it now. But they're thinking like, oh, well, why didn't Jeremy cut a Hulk Hogan promo like he usually does? But like, but yeah, because it's the exact same things that you've heard Hogan say a bunch of times about how big his pythons are. And
right, it wasn't a promo. He just said some words.
He started talking about the Giants' mom and having met her at a basketball game or something like that,
which is actually true.
And yes, but like that's when the Giant comes out and
right.
Holding him back, and then it goes off the air. But you're right. Like for as tight and focused and like directed that like we've seen a lot of Nitro, this one had a ton of holes in it. Like yeah, there was good with the Horsemen, the Horsemen stuff. I love.
Every match went 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And they were none of them were clean finishes.
Except the ones that were clean finishes, and then why was that a clean finish? Like why was Booker T versus Scott Hall a clean finish? Stevie Ray versus Lex Luger. I mean, yeah, that's the gimmick is the rack or whatever. But like, yeah, weird, especially starting off as hot as it did because Macho and Sting was awesome. Four Horsemen, like Arn and Mongo versus Guerrero and Jarrett was good. The promo with them afterwards was good. But then you have these other things that should be great, like a Dean Malenko versus Ultimo Dragon. Didn't have enough time. Have a TV title match where like nobody cares. We didn't even get an entrance for the champion, or we didn't even see the ref. Like, I guess that they don't really do it in WCW where they hold up the belt, but like, whatever. Just how weird. So, all of that being said, are we saying that Raw was better this week?
Raw was a million times better this week.
All right. Well, we have a winner for January 20th of 1997. We're going to give it to Monday Night Raw.
Yes, the viewers at home did not agree, Adam. Nitro got a 3.7 and Raw got a 2.2, a thrashing, if you will.
Disgusting. No, and not well earned, but like, especially coming off of the Royal Rumble, like there's some interest there. I don't know, man. Just, NWO was a way of life back then. Like people, again, we've talked about this, don't really get it unless you were there. But like, yeah, NWO was a way of fucking life for 2 years. That's other than that, I have no strong feelings. What fair enough. Sorry, I do. I just love finishing thoughts that I have no strong feelings after expressing many strong feelings. But I don't know. I think I'm going to go back.
What's that?
I'm going to go back and watch me some La Femme Nikita.
There you go. If there's anything to watch, Adam, on either show, is there anything you would recommend going back to look up?
Oh, Open of Nitro. Definitely. The Sting Macho stuff. Absolutely. If you want to just have some fun, you go to the Horseman stuff and see Mongo just like getting that hometown pop and like loving every second of it. Because again, as we were discussing, when the performer's having fun, you're having fun, and it's infectious. And Mongo was having the time of his life out there. He was getting a hero's welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Now there were some decent stuff on Raw, like the Bret Hart promo when he came out, but like overall, I mean, you have a main event that's Stone Cold versus The Undertaker, and like, I didn't care. Didn't care at all. You know?
I care, but it was a nothing match, and it was never really meant to be matched. That match is all storyline and everything else happening around it more than here's this big main event of Stone Cold versus The Undertaker.
Yeah, it's not Highway to Hell or anything like that.
Yeah.
Which Stone Cold got concussed like crazy, and that's why that match isn't that good. But, you know, I think that Highway to Hell might have been, it's one of the earliest pay-per-views I can remember watching. I'm not sure if it was my very first, but it might have been. When was Highway to Hell?
That was SummerSlam 1998.
So that makes sense because I started watching in 98. I also remember being really excited for Bash at the Beach, and then they were not at a beach for it. It's just at a beach set, and I was disappointed. But regardless, that's
right,
what about you, Jerry? You think anything that you tell the podheads to go back and pick out from January 20th of 1997?
No.
Well, there you have it.
I liked Raw, but if there's a million other things to watch before you watch that Raw, like in particular for moments, I guess, you know.
I didn't even like Raw. It's just.
Ooh, I did. I thought it was tight. I liked storylines. I thought it was all like crazy, wild, what's happening next kind of thing throughout the entire show. It had a vibe.
What you thought about Bulldog and Owen versus Furnace and LaFon? That's what you thought about Farouk versus Bart Gunn?
Yeah, because I think, they all played second fiddle to the major storyline anyway. They were sort of all ignored for everything that's going on. It sort of like had matches in between stuff, which is pretty much how they're going to do Raw for the next 3 years. Is like they throw guys out there to have matches that really in the scheme of things don't matter just so they could keep talking about Stone Cold.
It's like that thing that came out that like was like when or what was it? No, it didn't come out. It was just like a joke that people have online that like Vince wants, he wants every segment that Roman is on is about Roman, and then every segment that Roman isn't in, people should be asking where's Roman.
That's a Simpsons joke, right? Joke, Adam.
Well, a little insight to the podheads here. I'm just I never really got to consume The Simpsons growing up. Jeremy is a Simpson fanatic, and I am now making my way through the series during my bathtub time, and really having fun. My favorite episode so far, I think, is the 138th Spectacular. 138th episode Spectacular.
That is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Adam, that's what we thought, but we love to know what you guys think, and there's a million ways to let us know. Here's what you can do. You can tweet at us, Monday Night Pod. You can Facebook at us, Monday Night Pod. You can Instagram at us, Monday Night Pod. DM, tweets, whatever you want to do, message, comments, I don't care. You could email us at info@mondaynightpod.com. If you're listening to us on podcasts, you could leave a 5-star review, listen to us on an Apple podcast, and write a little review there. That's cool. If you're listening to podcasts, make sure you are subscribed to following, whatever that big old button is. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can comment below, let us know what you think, who should have won the Monday Night Wars this week. While you're there, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and share this video. Do all those things.
Yes. Share it with a friend. Talk about it on a Reddit board. Do whatever you can.
That's what I want. I want a Reddit board about the podcast. Forget about the other stuff. I want Reddit.
No, I want you talking about something, on Reddit, and then being like, I was listening to this podcast, Monday Night Pod, where these guys who used to work at the WWE tape library going through all the footage that WWE ever acquired, which makes them qualified to host a podcast about the Monday Night Wars, said this. And then there you go. And then we keep spreading. And then there's more podheads, and we love y'all, and we're loving what you're doing, and we're going to keep doing it.
I'll up the ante on that, Adam.
Oh boy.
The first person to actually do that and email me at info@mondaynightpod.com. I'll send you a $50 gift card to Amazon.
Whoa, $50 Amazon gift card. That is
all you have to do is get the conversation steered into us on a Reddit message board. Send me the link in an email, and I will send it, and I will buy you an Amazon gift card.
Okay, all right. So
Adam, you are not eligible for this.
I'm just trying to be clear. Like, you want a link to their discussion? You want screen grabs? Like, what?
No, I want to send me the link. I can read it from there. But yeah, email a link at info@mondaynightpod.com, and I will send you an Amazon gift card for $50. The first person to do it.
Beautiful. Well, I love the Podheads, but I don't love them quite that much. I mean, my goodness, look at Jeremy here. And you can never say that he's not a giver, my friend.
Paying for clout. Well, all right. Last word, Adam.
Oh yeah. Watch yourself some Full Gear, man. It was good. I'm saying that to you, Jeremy. It was good. And to the fans, hell yeah, buddies. Thanks for coming.
Bye.